Thank you, Michael, for joining us tonight for the Women's Discussion Group. I've learned so much tonight, and would you mind sharing with the audience what are your top 3 tips around having difficult conversations?
Yes, well, difficult conversations is something that everyone struggles with, and if there's one thing at every organization that I visit that is common, it is people avoiding conflict, and for good reason, because most people find it difficult because often it's something they've either been on the receiving end or been delivering some feedback and had a difficult response. So difficult conversations are something that almost everyone really enjoys learning about, because it's something we all fear. And there's a lot of fear that we have around having difficult conversations. And so I'm just going to share 3 really simple things that people can do. Number 1 is actually using something that I call pre-framing. Now, pre-framing is simply preconditioning people before you actually share something. So, for example, let's say that I wanted to give some feedback to you because let's say you're a bit abrupt, and I find it difficult when you talk to me and you're abrupt. Now, most people wouldn't bother giving you the feedback because they don't want to create any conflict, and that they see that as a difficult conversation. So I might pre-frame that by actually, before I deliver the feedback, I'm actually going to say that something like this. I might say, you know, Jennifer, I feel a little awkward about having this conversation with you because I'm not quite sure how you're going to take it, and I've been kind of not sure whether I should even bring it up with you, but because it's not really a big deal. However, it's something that I feel you may want to get the feedback. I just wanted to ask, are you open to getting some feedback on how you communicate to me?
Sure.
So that is a pre-frame before I actually say, you know, one of the things that you may not be aware of is from time to time you can be a bit abrupt. At least that's how I perceive it, and how it makes me feel is, and then I share that. And I just wanted to know if you might be open to just taking that into consideration when you're talking with me.
Great.
So that's just one example. So the second thing we can do is we can ask permission. So rather than just delivering the information, we actually ask for permission first. So as I did in that example, I said, would you be open to getting some feedback on how you communicate? Or would you be willing to for me to make a suggestion? Or would it be okay if I play devil's advocate for a moment? So that could be used in various situations, and it's a way for you to increase people's receptivity to what you're about to say next, because we've asked permission, we've shown respect. The third thing is actually replacing the word but. Most people use but, and what they don't realize they're actually doing is they're actually negating what came before it. So when we use the word but, we actually put ourselves into conflict with the other person, because we force them unconsciously to defend their position, because we have essentially wronged their position. So when we actually replace but with and at the same time, we actually don't wrong what they're saying, and we don't negate it, and we simply introduce another idea that isn't in opposition with their idea. So for example, I might say, Jennifer, thanks very much for sharing your view. I see it slightly different. Would it be okay if I shared my perspective? So that's a permission question, and then I follow up with saying, I can see where you're coming from, and at the same time, I see it slightly differently.
Wow, that's so impactful. Yeah, I find it in this day and age it's very difficult, where we just want to get straight to the answers, and when we have preconceived ideas of wanting to provide the right answers as opposed to listening and coming from that approach of more collaborative approach rather than direct and forward. Oh, that's great.
My pleasure. Hopefully that helps your audience.
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.